Hi and welcome back to another video of JPlay. I am Marcus, and yes, today it's all about Vampire the Masquerade chapters. This is not the, I believe, definitive edition. This is the error-prone first edition of the game. I got it relatively, not really cheap, but for an okay price. I have not gotten any of the additional characters and whatnot, and I had this game on my list for quite a while, but because of all the things I read about this, completely full of errors, the campaigns or some of the chapters not really playable, that was really what in the end turned me away from this game. But because I'm really a huge fan of the IP, I used to play Vampire the Masquerade the RPG. Back in the day I also played some of the video games and whatnot. So ultimately I said, okay, let's check out the geek again. Let's see if they fixed it. And it seems, with all the erratas, I think there's a 4 pages errata document or so, I decided, come on, let's give it a go. And there's also an app in the meantime which is basically replacing all of these booklets. I don't know how many of these booklets are in this game. I mean, every chapter has one of these booklets, and they have all been replaced now by an app. And I'm most likely going to use the app for this playthrough, but that's because, for one, it's basically fixing some of the things, and second, they're really hard to film, I suppose. I don't know how I would do that, and I don't want to reference the errata document for everything. Normally it's really not that bad. In the meantime, again, if you're playing a new chapter, you would pull out the errata document, you check the chapter, is there anything that you need to pay attention to, and then you can play this game quite well. In the meantime, they also have updated the rulebook on their website and everything. So I think by now the game is really fully playable without too many hassles. It's still a relatively complex game, so I will definitely do a lot of mistakes, but this is now really one of the games I want to play entirely for the experience. Of course, I still try to play it as correctly as I can, but expect a lot of goofs. I'm also not sure how far I will drive this. I definitely do have some ambition to play this a little bit longer than my usual games on the channel, but in the end it also depends a little bit on your interest. I'm really interested in this game, but if I find out after, I don't know, 2-3 chapters, it's nice, but maybe not really for me, then I might call it anyway. And ultimately I decided to play with a coterie of 4 vampires. Actually, I know this is a little bit challenging, but still that's what I want to do, because I really want to explore as much as possible. Yes, in theory there is some replayability in the end. I believe some things are branching, and depending with who you're playing this, I think you can play this game easily twice or so with completely 2 different sets of vampires or so. But yeah, I will start with a coterie of 4. If I also notice it's too tough to manage, I might have to reduce it down, but then even then we can play with a coterie of 4, because you can add allies, and then there are some kind of NPCs which are relatively straightforward to manage. But yeah, let's see how things go. Today's episode might be a boring one, I don't know, because I'm going to play the prologues for the 4 vampires that I have chosen, and I'm not going to tell you right now who those are. So you will definitely see a good amount of, let's say, actual gameplay, but in this game you also will go through a lot of reading and a lot of getting to know the characters and whatnot. So not sure if that's your cup of tea, but I decided to play it anyway. Off camera I will also play the other prologues for the other characters, because here the game is somewhat of an odd duck, because every prologue you're playing, the XP you're gaining from these prologues, you more or less unlock for the entirety of all the players. Experience points are anyway a little bit strangely designed in this game. But today I think, let's see if I can really go through all 4 of those, or we will do 2 prologues today and then maybe a second video with the another 2 prologues, and then we will ultimately start the campaign. So if that's not for you, then you may have to wait for the official first chapter of the campaign here, which happens to be in Montreal. I believe flyers there also also from Montreal, by the way. So that's where we are, and I think with that being said, and yeah, I will do some reading for the first prologue. Again, I will use the app for this just to make things sure. Maybe I will do the reading part with the booklet because I think from it, let's say the text per se is quite okay. There weren't too many goofs in there. It's really more the, let's say, game logic, read event E11 or whatever. This is something where the original game was somewhat, yeah, mess up. Harold Beaulieu, Malkavian, the prologue. Tonight's heavy snowfall renders visibility almost null on the road. The radio blasts the same op-ed about international events you have heard all week. Your relationship of 7 years with your wife Barbara is not going great. This evening, like so many other nights, you came home to cold reception. Her silence spoke volumes about her mental state and her disposition towards you. It did not take long for an argument to break out, and as usual, you preferred to go back to the office to give her space. Your office is your sanctuary. The only place in the city where you feel like you still have a handle on things, where you are in control. In this space, you feel wanted, needed even. As you drive through the snow, you begin to see the silhouette of your clinic stand tall and dark against the night. Only the light above the entrance door was left on. You park your vehicle on the side lot. Half a foot of snow has already accumulated. You wonder if you're going to be stuck here. You begin to think this might be a good thing. You walk up the steps and unlock the front door. As you walk down the corridor to your office, you feel like someone stepped on your grave. You open the door and breath of sigh of relief as your eyes gaze upon your familiar office. Wait, where is your mirror? And why are the mounds of papers left on your desk? Is this a break-in? Your first thought is to call the police, but what if it's just an accident with a cleaning lady? You figure it might be best to just take a look around before calling the cops. That way, you can also give them more information when they show up. As for our objective, the game is relatively open-ended. Find out what happened in your office. Typically these prologues are here to really, they're kind of a tutorial actually, because they really walk you through most of the game mechanics. I really like that a lot actually. But yeah, some of the booklets in the original game, like this one here, was really buggy actually, so it could even, let's say, somewhat mislead you to some extent. The action here is basically telling you what you have to do when you are starting this kind of a campaign. And there's a tiny bit of information on the bottom down here. In this chapter, you play as a character who is still mortal. You cannot use your vampiric disciplines. And this is also something which they somewhat fixed in the app version of the game. They're also telling you can no longer use your blood, for example, to mend damage and whatnot. So yeah, let's do some reading. So we are now really getting into the gameplay. I already set up for our first prologue here, which is apparently our office. Setup in this game is really not ultra big because typically you're playing on a relatively small map like this one here. We have 4 of these so-called, I believe, investigation areas. And here is our character Harold Beaulieu, which I really poorly painted, but I wanted some color on those because everything else, all the enemies will be standees, and the standees look quite nice. I wanted really some colors for our folks here as well. You see the red things in here. This is basically telling us in which direction we are facing. So yes, this is a game where facing actually does matter, and I believe they did that quite well actually. But that's basically where we are. So we just entered our office here and we're wondering, okay, hey, what's going on here? So now we are going to read our very first event. Time to investigate. You can start investigating the room by moving your character to a hex adjacent to an investigation area. When you do so, flip the scenario booklet to the page in the investigation section corresponding to the area. So this is not really text, it's basically telling me what I have to do. You start your investigation by scrutinizing the room. Where will you go first? Resume playing. Okay, now we are starting the so-called main sequence, which allows us to move, and we can also take an action. In theory, we could also use our blood. Right now, there is no round tracker whatsoever. So in theory, I would go now through my round, and typically your movement is your athletic skill +1. I believe in the app they have changed that. There is one chapter where they're telling your movement is always a 3. And honestly, I do think that this is an improvement And I believe at this point in time it doesn't really matter, because now we would move here. Athletics +1, or we have a 0 in our athletics, so that could be something I want to improve relatively soon. But again, nothing would happen. There is no real whatever mystery phase or so where the game would strike back. There are chapters later on where there is actually a round tracker of sorts, but right now in these prologues that's not the case. So in this case we can simply pretty much move right next to our desk. So we are doing a movement. I can turn my character any direction I see fit. I don't know what's happening. I really didn't read through all the things in this chapter here. So we are starting our investigation. I think this is our desk here, and now we are pretty much doing our very first investigation of the game. So we're going into another cycle of the game. It's like a routine in a computer program. So now we are in this investigation, and we have to really finish with this investigation before we can move to the main phase. And if you're playing a multiplayer game, all the other players have to wait, which is why I believe this may not be the best game for 4 to play, for example, because there could be a lot of waiting for you. But I'm relatively certain playing this with 2 and everybody's controlling 2 characters, that could be the sweet spot for this game. Anyway, let's check out what's happening at our desk here. Your desk is a mess. Someone scattered your papers and supplies everywhere. Your picture frames have been toppled. Most of your expensive pens have been broken, and the ink has been spilled across your files. Okay, we get a choice now. We can clean up the surface of the desk or rifle through your drawers. And this is something where maybe I should have explained that to you. So Harold Beaulieu, he is a psychologist. Maybe you have, I think this was part of the introduction, I don't know. So what would they do actually? And he's going through some stress. Does he want, no, I think he wants to go to understand what's going on. So rifle through your drawers. So we are reading inspection. I think it's an inspection or so. 1. Let's do them. They're all hyperlinks. That's really, really nice. It works so well, this app. It's not really an app, it's basically a website. Someone messed with your files. You remember the most recent memo about digitizing your files, and you know you've been behind on that. If this is someone's idea of a reminder, there will be hell to pay. If you have clue token 1, you must read in 4. No, we don't have clue token number 1 actually. So we have to go on here. You open each folder and sort through the loose pages, putting them back in the right order. As you do, you notice someone has left notes all over your files. Some words have been circled and others added. Okay, we are now making our very first test of the game. So it's a mental plus awareness check, and the difficulty is 4. And if we are successful, we are reading 4. If not, we are reading 3. Let's see. So basically we are looking at our little player sheet here, Harold Beaulieu. Right now, again, we are not yet a vampire, but we can still use a lot of our skills here. So in this case, we are making a mental plus an awareness. Our awareness was awareness, right? Yeah, is basically on 2, which means we are automatically succeeding with 2 successes. But on top of this, we are now rolling 3 dice because this is what our attributes telling us. Normally, as a vampire, I would be on hunger level 1, which means I would have to replace one of our dice with a red dice. But again, because right now we are not yet a vampire, I get to roll them all. So let's see. We are rolling our dice here, and that was an extremely successful roll. This counts as a double. This is a 1. So on these die rolls alone, we have completely made the test here. Awesome start. The circled words, the added comments in the margins. Feels like someone wanted to leave you a message. Most of the manipulated files concern abuse victims, violent patients, and patients with dissociative disorders. Furthermore, the notes seem to indicate a pattern of judgment. The person who wrote these notes pretend to analyze those patients based only on the information you left behind, as if they were playing a psychiatrist. Okay, we are now making our first deduction of this game. Make a deduction that seems most right to you, then read the corresponding guess page. And again, I have not read ahead here. I have no clue what's behind of those. So we basically have 3 guesses here. The notes are their musings. The person who did this wanted to point out your past failures and highlight your lack of experience. That is now an interesting thing. So this is where I have to think for our character. This is where really this whole role-playing aspects come in. Or the content of the note is a red herring. Anyone could have made guesses based on your observations. You should focus instead on the handwriting. That may be a clue. While I agree with the letter here, I somewhat doubt that a psychiatrist would know or understand the handwriting of their patients. I really don't know how often patients are writing something, handing this over, so I don't really think that this is an actual choice for a psychiatrist. Could be completely wrong, but that's how I feel. Normally you talk to each other, you're not writing each other's letters, right? So I think it's going to either 1 or 2 in this case. I'm not sure what's with G3 actually. Don't know what's with those. I think I will go, am I in a low mood? Point out your past failures and highlight your lack of experience. Let me play him like this. So we are going to guess 2 in this case. The intruder purposely selected files that were both complex and closed. The patients whose files they messed with were clearly among your earliest. No wonder the mysterious scribbler has written condescending remarks about signs you may have missed. The intruder could be one of your colleagues, though some delusional patient could also be at the root of this. Take 1 investigation success tokens. That is quite nice. And we are removing investigation token 2 from the tile. So we're removing this. If all investigation area tokens have been removed from the tile, you must read event E2. No, that's not the case. Or we are resuming playing. Let's resume. Okay, let's grab our first investigation success token. That is nice. And because there is still no clock ticking, I think we are moving directly here adjacent to clue number 3. So let's see, maybe someone sent me an email. Not even sure, when does this happen? I mean, it's a notebook. It seems pretty modern day, right? This notebook here, pretty sure there were emails around. So yeah, let's check the computer. Your computer is running, but the monitor is turned off. You do not recall leaving it on when you left. When the screen turns on, you are greeted by an unfamiliar desktop. Spread across the screen are a multitude of audio and video files and no sign of your work and personal folders. You do not want to open the files, but your curiosity gets the better of you. With one hand, you pick up the phone and dial 911. With the other, you hover over one of the icons. Before the operator answers, you find yourself clicking on a file. It's a video of you and your wife in a bed one night. The video was filmed against your window. You panic and your thoughts begin to race. Is this blackmail? In this case, should you call the police? Maybe whoever took this video will know and might hurt your wife if you act too quickly. A morbid curiosity takes hold of you. You hang up. So now we are making a mental plus technology check, and depending of basically how successful we are continuing to read. So let's see what our technology, oh, that's only a 1. So we are rolling 3 dice. We have 1 auto success here, but we need, I believe we want 4 successes, right? Yeah, okay, let's see what we are rolling. So again, we are not rolling any red dice here, and this was still good enough. Again, this is a double success. Wow, awesome. We can continue like this. I take that. You open the audio files. They are recordings of your therapy sessions with your patients. Some of them were clearly recorded from within your office, others from outside. The recordings go back as far as 2 years and cover all your patients, except Lydia. It was easy to miss, but after a few minutes of scrutiny, you realize everything you had on Lydia Moscato has been deleted. Okay, we are making another deduction. These are completely different deductions, so it's not the same G1 than with the other investigation. These are relatively independent investigations, actually. And this one, I think, is relatively clear for me. I'm not sure if I'm paranoid enough to think that colleagues are trying to sabotage me. This is nothing which the story would give away. Of course, again, I could set up this character this way, where I say he's completely mental and paranoid. He's a Malkavian, after all. He's going to be one. I mean, that's no surprise here. But anyway, I think let's go with the obvious one in this case, because that's what the text gives me. Again, I still want to use it as an investigation. Lydia is behind this and is attempting to cover her tracks. Let's see. Okay, we are back at our computer. Oh, and this is nice. Lydia Moscato's files are missing and everything else has been moved to obfuscate that fact. This is an attempt by your patients to interfere with your work. Oh wow, take 2 of those success markers. That is nice. So we have plenty of those. So we're already at 3. So things are going, I think, okay. Could I have gained more? from the first investigation? I don't know. We're removing this token here as well. Take clue token 2 if you do not yet have it. Was the clue token 2 the one that was asked for the other one? Oh gosh, I already forget. If all, no, we have not removed them all. No, we will resume playing. Let's add the clue. And it seems we have to investigate them all. So I'm not sure. I think this is a shelf down here and this is our sofa. Huh. So let's go over to this sofa. I think we would be moving in this direction here. Again, I don't want to metagame this game too much, so we are investigating the sofa. And again, we are dealing with another test, it seems. Approaching the sofa, you hear a crunch and feel like you've stepped on something hard. Lifting your foot up, you notice a broken shard of glass embedded into the sole of your shoe. You take a few careful steps toward the sofa, only to find that someone has not only removed your mirror from the wall, but also left it smashed to pieces on the sofa. Okay, we're making another test. It's a mental and search check. And reminder, you can always spend willpower. Yeah, I think it didn't really remind me, but maybe I simply should have started from test 1. Maybe I will do that in the other prologues here when I get a choice. Yeah, I can use basically willpower to get rerolls. That is always allowed. But yeah, let's make the test, and we are looking, well, again, for 5 successes, ideally at least. So again, mental is 3 and search is 3 as well. So we have 3 auto hits basically. So we need 2 more coming from those dice. And again, the dice are on my side. Okay, this can't be good. If the prologues are going this well, the actual campaign will be a complete disaster. I'm relatively certain about that. The pieces on the sofa do not make up the entire mirror. Some of the shards are missing and the rest have been rearranged to make a smaller mirror. As you move to look closer, you notice the office blinds were left open and the shards of mirror reflect the moonlight. Judging by the distance and the angle of the light, this was deliberate. Romans used to believe burying a broken mirror under the moonlight would cancel the bad luck of breaking it. A sort of do-over, if you will. Okay, again, we are making another deduction. And here I'm torn between guesses 1 and 3. The second one is a little bit too boring. Whoever did this is sending you a clever hidden message about second chances. And thinking about, I think I'm having some troubles in my marriage. Or Harold is. Or broken mirror reflects a broken visage. This is a threat. No, this seems far-fetched to me. No, I will go for the first one. This is about second chances. I'm looking somewhat optimistic into the future. Let's read this. It's true that you have felt fractured lately. You've opened up to a few of your colleagues, but would they really have gone to the trouble of presenting you with such a strange message? A broken mind, a broken man, a broken marriage? It's as if the mirror knows you, reflects the real Harold back at you. Maybe tonight is your breaking point. Maybe your 7 years of bad luck are over and 7 new years are beginning. Yes, hooray. Okay, we are removing this investigation token as well. And 2 more of those success tokens. I feel things are going, quite okay actually. So we are now at 5 already. We are not gaining any clues. No, we have not yet removed the chart. So I think we have to make it here to the shelf. So I think we are doing something like, I think we would be moving naturally over here. Again, I don't want to metagame this. I don't want to position myself for a combat or so. I really don't know what's going on here. So no, we are researching or investigating the shelf. And I must say, so far this is exceptionally well written. I really enjoy this so far. The books on the shelves are not yours. You normally keep reference material on psychotherapy, behavioral therapy and cognitive dissonance. Tonight, instead of your familiar books, you see the following. Treatise on the apparitions of spirits and on vampires or revenants of Hungary, Moravia and others by Antoine Auguste Calmet. The House by the Churchyard by Joseph Sheridan Le Fanu, Beyond the Gates of Dreams by Lynn Carter, Belmont Books edition, or The Plaidoyer pour Gilles de Rais by Jean-Pierre Bayard. Is there some clue to be gleaned from these books? I wonder. We are making a mental and awareness check, and again, ideally we try to make it to 4 successes. So again, we have 2 auto hits here because we have 2 skills checked off here and really like that system, and we are rolling our 3 dice from our mental attribute, and this time we did fail actually badly. So things are starting to move finally. But even though we are not a vampire yet, we are allowed to use willpower for rerolls. You can reroll up to 3 black dice, only black dice with 1 point of willpower. And I think we have 6 willpower points right now at our disposal. And you can continue rolling as much as you want. And I think we want to be successful. We are looking for 2 more successes, right? And this is 1 more. I will spend 1 more willpower point. So I will hold on to this 1 success here. Ooh, that is bad. Let's do 1 more. Yeah, now we are back in reality, mind. That's what it is. Okay, these are 2. We have 2 here. So these are the 4, but it definitely cost us. And again, I have no clue how long this chapter still is, actually. This is one of the bigger booklets, by the way. They're very small ones, but this one is one of the bigger ones. But again, I did not really read them through. The books have all the same thing in common. Vampires. Sheridan was the author of Camarilla. This is already a thing. I think there are various ways how to pronounce it. I think officially it's Camarilla. I could be wrong. I have seen Camarilla. Let's use Camarilla. Calmet's treatise on vampires and even Gilles de Rais was one point considered a vampire by his contemporaries. Books with links to vampires, but no signs of Dracula or Twilight. What message hides behind all of this? Again, we are making a deduction, which seems right to me. And right now, I don't know if there is a right or wrong here. I believe the main part is we have made the test. I think this already gives a lot away. The books form a riddle, one that would explain everything if you can solve it, maybe. The books are a coded message placed here for your eyes only. That's the one I would like to go with, I believe. The books are an insight into the psyche of whoever left them. Okay, these 2 are the ones which I would love. I think it's either G4 or G2 in this case. No, I think I'm going with this one here, for your eyes only, because it follows the deduction that we have made before to some extent. So it's basically about me, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. G4, but maybe there is a right or wrong, because now I only get 1 investigation success token here. Who knows? You're not a specialist in the occult, nor interested in superstitions, save when they hinder the lives of your patients. By definition, occult means hidden, concealed. These books indicate you are missing something, perhaps something crucial. So we're getting 1 more success token. We are now at 6. We are removing the final investigation token from the board. And if all investigation area tokens have been removed from the tile, yes, we must read event E2. Let's do that. Lydia's arrival. Okay, awesome. There is a soft knock at the door. There in the door stands one of your oldest regular patients, Lydia Moscato. All mysterious and charismatic, this behavior behooves her, but is not representative of her usual self. What is going on tonight? Set your character in Lydia Moscato, so basically character number 2, on the designated hexes. Okay, let's do that. And then, yeah, we are immediately reading Lydia Moscato dialogue D1. So we are going into our first dialogue sequence. So basically we are here next to our desk, and here we will place Lydia. Okay, and here she is. I'm not sure if you can see these foots. Basically, they come with also an indication of their facing, and Lydia is facing this. So there is a line of sight in this game where you pretty much see everything that's more or less in front of you. You can do stealth checks later on, but that's basically where she is. So we are now doing our very first dialogue. Cool. And I really hope this is somewhat fun to you to watch. It's really fun for me playing. I can't tell you how much I am enjoying this already. Lydia enters your office wearing a fur-trimmed coat. She leans against the frame of the door and takes a long look around. Good evening, Harold. Miss Moscato, you stammer. What are you doing here? We're closed. I came to see you, Harold. I needed to see you. Lydia keeps looking around your office, almost as if she was expecting someone else to be here. She isn't supposed to be here. In fact, didn't you lock the front door behind you? Still, she might be in need of assistance, and as a therapist, you feel called to help. Okay, we get now basically, I think, 2 options now. We can try to send her away, make a social and intimidation check, difficulty 2. That doesn't sound to be all that bad, or try to understand what she wants. Again, I think I'm now in this position where I try to flee into my work, and if I see someone who as a therapist, a psychologist, I think I want to help her. It's not really appropriate, I get it, but I think I want to help her, try to understand what she wants. Still, we have to make a roll, and this time it's a different attribute, so we're making a social plus insight check with a difficulty of 3. So things are a little bit more tricky. I mean, we have an insight of 2 actually, and yeah, we are rolling 2 dice for our social attribute, so only 2 dice in this case, but we are looking for 1 more success in the end, right? And yeah, okay, we made it. She could be suffering from a psychotic episode. She's definitely not dressed to be outside in the winter, and her behavior is much more flirtatious than usual. To your shame, you recall wanting her at some point. That's really not appropriate. You never acted upon these desires and certainly never let them show. Except right in this moment. The way she is dressed, her dark lipstick. This is everything you find attractive. Like she knew you. If you have clue token 2, I actually do have clue token number 2, so you must read D7. So I have no other choice in this case. It was her all along. You lunge for the phone to call the cops. As you grab the handset, Lydia takes a few quick strides into your office and rips the cord from the outlet. She must have seen your reaction, for she changes her behavior almost immediately. Sit down, Harold. Make yourself comfortable. Her voice shifts back to flirtatious. She languorously moves to your desk and leans on it. You will not regret it. You reason with her. You obey her. This is now really where I have to make a choice. Again, how I want to deal with Harold, basically. Do I want him to be ultra professional? Then obviously we would reasoning with her. Or do you want to give in and you obey her? I mean, you will not regret it. He's so in love and... it's tough. How professional is he at this point in time with everything that we have read so far? No, we will obey her. I know I shouldn't be a therapist, almost certain. Submission is a good first step, Harold. I know how hard it must be for you. I know you would want me as a submissive one. She flashes a smile and winks. I know you, Harold. I know you've been unhappy lately, and I know you've always wanted to know more about me. She says this while playing with her neckline on her dress. She makes it hard for you to concentrate. I'm offering you that very chance tonight, Harold. You attempt to remain stoic. Was that really? Okay, I don't know. Make a social and insight check. I mean, we already know the drill. Our insight is 2 and social is 2, so we're rolling 2 dice. Okay, that was not good enough. The question is, do I want to re-roll that? I think I do. I will spend 1 more willpower to re-roll those 2 dice. Yes, we have 3 successes now. So 1 from the physical check and 2 automatic successes from our insight skill. Lydia is amused by your attempts to regain control of the situation. She bats her eyes a few times before saying, "You've got a strong will, Mr. Therapist." You remain quiet. "I would not have expected any less from you," she says. "I did not come here for help, Harold. You came here for me." She isn't making any sense. You fear her situation is worsening the longer she remains without help. "I can fix all of your problems, and God knows you have many. Your wives, your finances, your frustrations. You believe you understand what is truly going on. Turn the tables on her." Ooh, that is interesting. Honestly, I don't really know what's going on. Yes, of course, me as a player knows what's going on here, but I don't think that Harold does. So I will continue reading for now. "Lydia, are you saying you spent the last 7 years of your life attempting to control mine in the vague hope that I, at this very moment, would accept whatever proposition you have for me?" Your tone changes from that of an empathetic therapist to a darker, more threatening. "You're seriously troubled, Miss Moscato. The world does not revolve around you or your needs. You would do well to heed my warning for you. Stop this nonsense and get help. Now." Lydia fakes surprise, then immediately begins to grin. My, Harold, I was not mistaken after all. You will do just fine. You have just shown me you are exactly who I need. Oh, we are taking one more investigation success token actually. Okay, I certainly take that. So we are now at 7 and now we have to actually, we have to go to the final deduction section. So basically this chapter is now almost over. And here we are, the final deduction puts you an end to the investigation sequence. Okay, the investigation success tokens you possess will give you the potential to choose the ultimate outcome of the investigation. Okay, if you have we have 7+. We just not sure if that's good or not. I think so. It has to be good, right? So we are going in there. So it seems okay. She wants you. I think that's almost clear. Lydia's interest in you was motivated by a genuine desire to see you succeed, at least according to what she considers success. And I believe now we have basically a choice down here. Lydia is part of an exclusive gang who is blackmailing you to get to join them. Lydia is part of a secret society who ruins their prospective members' lives in order to rebuild them as they see fit. Honestly, neither of them I would choose if they would be among 10 others or so. But I don't see blackmailing. Secret society ruins their prospective members' lives in order to rebuild them as they see fit. Blackmailing doesn't make sense because she said basically she wants us, right? So I think I will go for this one, FD7. Prodigy. No, I'm not the fire starter. Lydia is delighted. You are missing a few pieces of this puzzle, my dear, but the Camarilla has been good at making itself invisible. You will take to the clan like a fish to water, Herald, and I expect you will surpass even some of our more established kindred. Some of the terms she uses are known to you, but you get the feeling you will discover their meaning soon enough. Okay, we are gaining 1 XP each. I think this now really means each for all the players who are playing now, so everyone gets 1 XP when we are starting this campaign. And oh, we are getting something out of this. Take the Brilliant Mind Effect card. End of prologue, Malkavian. You can now read its conclusion in the storybook. Isn't that lovely? So we're gaining 1 XP here. And let's see the effect card, the Brilliant Mind. This seems to be a nice one. There is no great genius without some touch of madness, Aristotle. +3 dice to your next mental check. Discard after use or at the end of the next chapter. Okay, that is nice. I certainly take that, though we have gained something. I will also note down our experience point down here. And then, let's read the conclusion. And obviously this is all highly spoilery stuff. I really should put a warning into the video at some point in time. The Malkavian prologue. It's been almost 2 years now since Lydia's embraced you. Yet you distinctly remember everything, her sensual approach, the carnal way with which she latched onto your throat, the throes of pleasure that soon followed, and then death, panic, blood filling your mouth and lungs as your mind descended into the abyss. For what felt like an infinite amount of time, you were plunged in a dark place between panic and insanity. Then your eyes opened and you awoke to a completely different world. You are now a Malkavian, the insane clan as they're often called. In reality, Malkavians see the world for what it really is. Lydia has also taught you how to feed yourself with blood and about the Camarilla clans. She's taught you everything about nocturnal society, especially in regard to the 6 traditions: Masquerade, domain, progeny, responsibility, hospitality and destruction. You've become just like her, a fervent supporter of these peculiar pillars meant to protect your kind for centuries. You are a member of the Camarilla to your core. Tonight, a storm is raging when you look through the window. You occasionally spot flashes of lightning. Thunder is detonating in the background. It almost feels like a foreshadowing sorts, like a violent change is coming. Your sire Lydia has left you not too long ago. Before departing, she's informed you of an emergency Elysium meeting at the Prince is holding tomorrow night. Everyone has been asked to join. You assume it's regarding the strange disappearance of a group of artists close to Betty, Lydia's ally. Your eyes return to the window and you watch the rain droplets slowly trickle downward. You're almost hypnotized by the sight of them meeting and crashing into each other, only to become one. The sound of lightning snaps you out of your daydream. It's time to go hunt You'll need to still your hunger before tomorrow night's meeting. Oh, we're gaining 1 more experience points each. Nice. So we are basically at 2 now. I certainly take that. And honestly, I do not know if I should record another prologue. I will not go through all 4 of those today. That's almost clear now. So I think, let's do 1 more. I really want to continue playing actually. Let's do some more. I know this is typically bad because I try to keep things slow so you can make me aware of any rule spoofs and whatnot, but I think let's do our next prologue. And the next character is Samuel Armstrong, a Ventrue. Montreal, 8:30 p.m. You're comfortably sitting in an old leather chair dating back to the Prohibition. You've earned this chair as a bonus during one of your latest transactions. You sip on a glass of blood and savor the taste, all the while typing one last email. The autumn rain pours and glides on your office window as your fingers briefly make contact with the keyboard. After pressing the send button, you immediately turn off your laptop, after which you read over the Prince of Montreal's latest letter 1 more time. Sir Armstrong, tonight you will receive a visit from 2 important members of your shared community. This matter could jeopardize the fragile allegiance which I've taken so long to build. This trivial territorial feud must not degenerate into something bigger. I've been told on multiple occasions of your diplomatic skills. It's time for you to prove that accepting a member of the Vancouver lineage was the best of decisions. Failure is not an option. Martin Hilkes. You slide the letter into the shredder. The blades of the engine are still destroying this written directive when your intern announces the arrival of 2 of your clients. You open the door after politely thanking her and giving her the night off. You then welcome your 2 guests and gesture them for to come in. Both vampires make their way inside the room and you indicate to them their respective seats. The skinnier of the 2 sits down. You cuff in your right fist to get their attention. Gentlemen, I'm Samuel Armstrong, descendant of Siegfried, Prince of Vancouver. I've gathered you here today to shed light on an embarrassing matter. I invite you to start from the very beginning and recall the incident as you see it. Thomas Chartrand, the Bruja, who looks like a lumberjack, has chosen to stay standing. Instead, he points to Antonio Andrade, the thin Malkavian wearing a grey suit. It's simple. This bastard was hunting when he trespassed on my territory without authorization. I'm ready to forget all about it if he apologizes. Otherwise, I'll tear his fangs off. We clear? Leaning in comfortable armchair and keeping this cool, the Malkavian retaliates. This is a simple misunderstanding, a mere faux pas, if you will. I was chasing after a prey on private property when things degenerated and turned violent. Nothing in the Camarilla explicitly forbids such a hunt. Therefore, unable to wait any longer, the Bruja stomps towards the Malkavian, who immediately stands back up with his fists raised. Are you fucking serious? I'm gonna beat your ass. That's typically language you're not hearing so often on my channel. You place yourself in between the 2 of them. Solve this conflict as per the prince's instructions. And yeah, we are continuing to read our very first event in this chapter. Okay, here is our office. So here we are. This is our Ventrue. This is the Malkavian. And yeah, this is the Bruja. And yeah, you see it's a miniature. So we will see him again relatively soon, I suppose. The work of a negotiator. You place yourself between the Bruja and the Malkavian, but then you hesitate. Should you start by reasoning with the easily riled up Bruja? Or should you begin discussing with the Malkavian whose mannerisms are closer to your own? Unsure where to begin, you choose to start conversing with both. This most certainly won't be easy, but you'll have to find some common ground for the 2 of them to settle on. The prince will not tolerate failure. So we are now placing our character right next to both of them. I don't know, how would this work? Like this? I don't know actually. Not sure if we are going to see a fight in this chapter. I really don't. But we have to continue reading anyway. Event 2, the calm before the storm. You mentally brace yourself at the thought of what's to come. So to initiate dialogue, you must move your character. Basically, we are being explained. That's not important. We are starting our very first dialogue of this chapter. This scenario here. Thomas and Antonio, so it begins. The tension between the two vampires is already quite strong. By placing yourself between them and trying to steer the conversation a certain way, you should be able to remain in control of the situation. Which method is most likely to succeed? Choose wisely. Take a while to slowly ease into the subject. Immediately get onto the topic. I think I'm this kind of a CEO person or so. So I think I really want to understand what's going on. So we are not rushing into things. So we are taking a while to slowly ease into the subject. Gentlemen, let's not fall into some trivial quibble. It seems to me it would be wiser for us to get to know one another before beginning. That way we'll be sure to find a resolution that satisfies both parties. Both vampires get a hold of themselves and return to their seats, which are right next to yours. This might be harder than you first thought. You'll have to take the time to uncover their motivations and their weaknesses if you truly want to honor your lineage. Now, let's get started, shall we? After what seems like an endless minute of silence, choose to let them talk in order to better analyze them and intervene as little as possible. Guide the conversation in a certain direction to better break into their minds and manipulate them. I think for a Ventrue, this kind of makes sense. So we are going into D19. We have to do our first check here, of course. You try to slide into their minds as subtly as possible in order to guide them toward your objective. We are faced with a problem that could have drastic political consequences. I invite you each to explain in turn how this has personally affected you. It stands to reason that although the laws and the traditions are pillars that cannot bend, or interpretations of them remain unique, the same can be said of our personal circumstances, of course. Try to be as diplomatic as possible. So we are making a social plus insight check with a difficulty of 4. And in this chapter we are actually already a vampire. So I assume we will start on the standard hunger level of 1. We have no damage. We have 5 willpower points at our disposal here. And yeah, let's have a quick look at our stats. And in this case, we are looking at social at insight. So we have 3 automatic successes already, and we need 4, and we're rolling 3 dice. So yeah, let's hope for the best. But again, keep in mind, we are now adding a red die to this one here because we are already kind of hungry. We are starting on a hunger level 1, and again, for each level, you're replacing 1 die to red one. They also come with successes, but they also have other results on them. So let's see. And I think that was quite okay. We had 3 auto hits plus 1, so we made it. Ventrue in charge. I don't believe violence to be the answer. In fact, I firmly believe everything can be solved through calm, rational discourse. Wouldn't you agree? Some asshole comes to my place and shits on my lawn, but we're supposed to live happily ever after? You want to know how I see things? Well, here it is. This is my fucking domain. That's that. That is exactly why we must discuss the matter calmly and rationally. You explain patiently. The prince might not take too kindly to the alliance between our 2 sects being jeopardized by a mere physical brawl. In only a few minutes worth of discussions, you've regained control of the situation. You notice Mr. Andrade seems quite amused by the whole ordeal, however, to the point that you are starting to wonder if he's not testing the prince's power on purpose. Although you shouldn't underestimate the Bruger's intellect, the Malkavian strikes you as the more dangerous of the 2. We are taking charismatic effect card. 8. Nice. To have people yearn to be around you, follow you, bend to you. Plus 2 dice to your next social check. Discard after use or at the end of the next chapter. Interesting. You pour a glass of warm blood to each of your guests. This meeting is quite astounding. I'd like to think we could make for a staunch allies. Mr. Andrade, I mean no offense to your associates, Mr. Chadron, but I doubt the Anarchs would appreciate me. Between us, members of the Camarilla, however, I see great potential in helping each other, Mr. Andrade. Wouldn't you agree? Hopefully you can get the Malkavian in your political clutches. Okay, social and subterfuge. Okay, difficulty 5. This is more like it. So I think, and this is where I'm already not 100% sure, do I have to use it? Discard after use or at the end to your next, because it really says to your next social check, and it doesn't seem like I can really choose not to use it. So I think I still get 2 more dice, right? So we have 3 dice and 2 auto successes. So we are rolling 5 dice in total because of our charismatic. One of them is red, right? That's the idea. This is not good enough, actually. I have 2 successes here and 2 from the subterfuge. We needed 5. I can't re-roll the red die, so we have to unfortunately set him aside, but I will use a willpower now to simply re-roll those 2. And yes, now we are good enough. Awesome, and I think... yeah, we have used it, so this is getting discarded. Victory smile. A slight smile paints itself on the lips of Antonio Andrade. Could this mean victory? Thomas Chatron is also grinning somewhat, although his grin looks more like a smirk. Should I get you to a room? You didn't let this boorish behavior intimidate you and calmly respond, Mr. Chatron, don't forget you're also more than welcome to join the Camarilla whenever. Join your cult? I'd rather die. He spits on the floor. The Bruiser stubbornly clings to his narrow-minded views. The Malkavian, however, seems quite content. Okay, we are continuing with our dialogue event here. Gentlemen, I'm glad we've managed to come to some sort of understanding. I'd like to believe tonight's discussion will lead to a satisfactory outcome for all of us. You've tried your best to arbitrate between the two. It's time to put an end to the mission the Prince has given you. Decide whether you want to preserve this alliance or whether you wish to benefit personally from this situation. Something that could anger one of the 2 vampires. Side with the Bruiser or side with the Malkavian? Okay, that's a tough one now. And honestly, I didn't really read ahead. I just had a look at my character board, and I feel like I might already have won the Malkavian, so I will side with the Bruiser. So I'm really opportunistic as I can be. So we are reading this. You choose to take the Bruiser's side. It's obvious Mr. Andrade fed on a mortal within the limits of Mr. Chatron's territory. You will thus understand, Mr. Andrade, that I have no choice but to take Mr. Chatron's side. The Malkavian raises an eyebrow. Excuse me? Yes. By the authority vested in me by the Prince, I invite you to give Mr. Chatron a boon. We are both Camarilla members, and thus we must be exemplary in our following of the traditions of our society. Impose your verdict. Make a social and persuasion check. Okay, I would have really loved to keep the social skills. I think this might be the more important role, actually, but I think I had to use my charismatic skill already. But the good thing is, we already have a persuasion of 3, so we have already 3 successes actually, and we are rolling 3 more dice. I could use one of my disciplines now, and I decided to go for him with presence level 1, the awe, which would allow me to add my presence level as dice to your persuasion skill checks, and this happens to be one of those, and our presence is 1, so we would be adding 1 extra die to the roll. But there is a chance when we are using plot that we always have to make a rouse check, and when we fail that rouse check, our plot level or hunger level goes up, and then we will exchange more dice with red dice, and I'm not sure right now if I want to do that just yet, because we still have enough willpower. No. Let's do a normal test with 3. We need 2 successes more on those. It's persuasion. Exactly. And yes, that is good enough. Amazing. And I believe we are already over. Carried by the Anarchs, the Bruiser and the Malkavian have just left your office. You've succeeded, and you might even have gotten some personal advantages out of the whole ordeal. The Prince, who is almost never available for anything, is unlikely to give you so much as a thank you gift, but at least you've accomplished your mission. Thomas Chatron is overjoyed. Your relationship with the Anarchs is sure to improve. Gain 1 boon. Okay, that is nice. Boon is basically cash in this game, which we can spend pretty much before any campaign, any start. That is nice. I will have to really note everything down here. However, it's unlikely that the Malkavian clan will forget about your decision anytime soon. Take the Rude effect card. Okay, now it's time to think about going hunting. You won't have time to do so tomorrow, as you've been summoned to an emergency Elysium, probably to discuss the shady circumstances behind the disappearance of a group of artists. It's been a long time since similar events events have occurred. You can now read its conclusion of the prologue, but let's have a quick look at the root effect card. Translation is often lost between ancient sensibilities and modern virtues. -1 die to your next social check. So yes, I think this answers my question, which I had before. I think you really have to use it really as it's written on your next roll, because otherwise I could also decide, let's not spend it. But we are also discarding this after use or at the end of the next chapter anyway. So we are not being rude for too long, it seems. But actually, we just have seen basically a small glimpse of stuff. This is all that could have happened. So this is where I really already start to see that this game can branch out relatively differently depending on how things go, if you're failing a roll or whatnot. So I honestly do think there is some replayability in this game, which is quite cool actually. Let's read the conclusion of this prologue. Tonight the air is electrifying, a storm is brewing. The sheet of paper burning in your glass illuminates your face sporadically. Standing in front of the giant glass window of your office, you watch over downtown Montreal. Memories of these past few days, more eventful moments come back to you. It seems as though after departing your office, Thomas Chartrand felt the need to take out his nerves onto a couple of fellas who were hanging around his place. Luckily for you, this feud occurred on an Anak territory. These chaotic beings have no respect for anything, excluding the Masquerade at the very least. Despite this, you know full well that this is an anecdote that has made its way back to your own ears. It will most definitely resurface elsewhere. This will likely tarnish your family's reputation. The status quo with the Anak is exasperating, but the prince's orders must be respected. The flame dies out, reminding you of the now incinerated letter's past content. You've been summoned to an emergency Elysium tomorrow night. It's been a long time since events such as these have occurred. The first water droplets make their way upon the glass wall before you and slowly trickle down its surface. You watch over the city assaulted by heavy rain one last time, then decide to go hunting for prey. Tomorrow night will be much too eventful for you to think about quenching your thirst. Gain 1 XP each. Okay, only 1 in this case. But we are gaining some, but we also gained a boon, right? That's not too bad. Take the special umbrella item card. And this happens to be a special umbrella. When combined with a weapon combat card, +1 die to your weapon skill checks. I certainly take that. That's a great start into the campaign. Hooray! But yeah, I believe I will end it for today. Do let me know if you want to see the other 2 prologues. Again, I will not play through all 8 of those. And the next one might be a little bit different because I think I know what's going on in there for whatever reason. Not in detail though, but I know this comes with a different... Because again, these prologues are meant to be some kind of a tutorial, and the next one simply we will see a combat. And might be a little bit more interesting. But do let me know if you want to see more of these prologues, or if you say, no, that is fine, let's now dive into the campaign. I will play through the prologues then off camera, because typically you're gaining something out of this, and that's why I typically try to play them. And it's really recommended to play them all, even with characters that are not part of your playthrough, that is. So that's also something, because you will also gain some experience points from them. And yeah, I will also, there is a very, very long read for the campaign introduction. I don't think I will do a full read of that. I think that was 10 pages or so, or 8, I don't know. Really quite a lot. I might consider doing a short summary of things, so to get you started, what happened during that night in this special Elysium that the prince called upon. And again, in case you are not really familiar with the world of Vampire the Masquerade, I think we will learn together as we go through this campaign. Anyway, I really hope you somewhat enjoyed this first chapter of my campaign playthrough here. I must say I'm really blown away so far. This is exceptionally fun. It's exceptionally well written. I really enjoy this a big deal so far. And again, as soon as we start to see some combat, and as soon we will also get some more freedom in the way how we're dealing with our surrounding, things will be much more interesting, even promised. Okay, but with that being said, hope to see you soon in one of my other videos. And yeah, until then, bye bye.